Hi there, it's Ian from Dixon Fabrication. I'm just going to do a quick little video of getting these engines to run out of the car, basically, so you can fit it into a Defender or retrofit it into anything you like. Now this is a Discovery 2 engine, td5. It's actually a 10p engine this. Right, so we've took this engine out. We've got the wiring harness, the engine harness is still attached to it as they normally come, as long as nobody's chopped all the plugs off. Right, I've built a little frame just to stick it on. Now we've actually attached the bell housing in because the crank sensor is in the bell housing and we need that. That's important for it to run, and also the starter motor is attached to the bell housing, so we've just bolted that on. Purely all that's doing is holding the starter motor and that and the crank sensor. Just built it on a little frame, put it in. Right, so you need a couple of things to get an engine to run. First of all, you need fuel. You need to supply it fuel, and with a diesel you need to supply power to the injectors to basically get it to run. Right, so we've got the main engine harness comes out of the engine. Now there's a lot of wires in here that you don't need, but you don't need to do anything with them to get the engine running. So first of all, we've got the red plug. Now in the red plug, this goes to your ECU. So then we've got the main battery cable, which all this does purely just goes up here. It's just attached in the same harness, comes back out, and it goes down, and it just attaches to the main starter motor wire there. So that's the main power supply for the engine. And then we've got the earth lead, which is attached to the original place where it came out the car, just bolted onto the engine there. So you put a battery on there, and away we go. Now to turn the engine over for the starter motor, there's this plug here, it's a brown plug. What colour is the wire? It's brown with a red stripe on. That is the wire that goes to the solenoid on the starter motor. That's the exciter wire. So as soon as you put power to these two, and you put a live to this, the engine will start turning over to try and start. Now then, but it won't start, of course, until you can control the fuel. How do we do that? Right, what we need is an ECU. So where's the ECU? So we've got an ECU. Right, so we've got your ECU, and your red plug basically plugs straight into there. Put it the right way around. It's not plugged in properly, what we'll do for now. Now then, these other wires, these other plugs that are here, this one here, you're going to need some of these wires. In this grey plug, there is a wire for your oil pressure warning light. There's the charge light wire for the alternator. Most of the other stuff is to do with the boost controller and the EGR valve. I think there might even be some in there for the air con pump that was on there, but that's all gone. So they all just want, you can strip this loom out. You can strip it just to get it running. And I'll show you how we do it. So right, so we've got the ECUs connected to the engine. Now what we need to do is connect the ECU to a throttle pedal, in order to put some input into the ECU to tell that to open the injectors to start the engine. Right, so and how we do that is with a standalone loom. Now this is one of our standalone looms. What we do these, we do them with a nice thick decent armoured cable on, so they don't wear through. It's good for heat resistance, stuff like that. Now there's your black plug, goes to your ECU, and there's your two main relays. One relay is the main relay for the ECU. The second relay, this one here, is your fuel pump relay. There should be an extra wire there, but I haven't added it. That wire literally just goes straight to your fuel pump. The other side of the fuel pump goes to the earth, and that fires your fuel pump when it needs to. You've got your OBD port, which plug your nanocom in, which I'm sure you'll want to do that. You've got this little gadget here. We'll talk about this in a minute. And then obviously you've got your throttle pedal. Now we put a nice long wire on them, so there's enough there to go underneath the cab and up to the ignition where it needs to go. And this is all you need to start it basically. You've got a black wire for your main earth. You've got a red wire for your main live, which is permanent live. So you put them to a permanent live on your ignition and an earth somewhere on the body. And then you've got your ignition wire. So you put power down to that and you're good to go. We've also got a clutch switch wire It isn't connected on this one at the moment. It's better to have the clutch switch on. It doesn't need it, but if you don't use the clutch switch, you just have to join these two wires together. I mean, I'll do that obviously if you tell me what you need. But if you don't join those wires together, it just revs up when you put the clutch in. It's to do with smooth running. That's not a problem. So we plug that wire into there. So this goes into your ECU as well. Getting a bit tight for space now with all these wires about. Just plug that in there. There, clips in. So you mount your OBD port somewhere close by, you know, so you can get to it behind a seat or something. Mount your relays onto the body somewhere so they're nice and secure, all nice and neat. And then your wire comes down. This plug goes to your throttle pedal, which I'm going to put throttle pedal on the bracket on the little frame somewhere so we can get it started up and rev it up, annoy the neighbours. And then these go up to your ignition. Now then, so should be good to go, but we don't have any fuel pipes, so I can't start it up. Right, the other thing is we need a fuel supply. Now this is also a bit of a subject. Some people say this is totally wrong, but been doing this for a while. I know many people have done it the same way. Now what we need to do, you don't need to use the standard td5 fuel pump setup with the high pressure pump, the low pressure pump, I think the 6 pipes backwards and forwards to the tank and silly little tank and all the rest of it. All you need is one of these. Bosch 044 pump. Now this one was off eBay. It is actually a genuine Bosch one, believe it or not, but it was only about, I think I paid about 26 quid, something like that. The fittings actually cost more than the pump, I think, if I remember rightly. Now that'll last you for years. Now what you basically do, and then you use a 300 TDI fuel filter. So from your tank into this side of the pump, out of the pump to the filter, out of the other side of the filter to the feed in on your fuel pressure regulator, and then this pipe is the return back to your tank. Just goes straight to your tank. So it's basically one pipe in, one pipe out, just dead simple. And then you don't have any messing about bleeding it. You know, when you come to bleed it, if you ever change the filter, it bleeds in seconds instantly. No problems with fuel pumps packing in. This thing supplies more than enough pressure. They don't need a lot of pressure, these engines, anyway. It's a bit of a myth. Most of the problems people have with fuel pumps is just down to the design of the fuel pump itself. But obviously with an 044, it's tried and tested, they work. That's it, just fit and forget. Right, so is that all? I think that's about it. I'll have to get I'll get some pipes ordered up on Monday, and we'll have this we'll have it running up and start it up, and we can show you what it's all about. Oh, the app sensor and the map sensor, I can't remember if I mentioned this. We don't have the airbox attached. It'll run like this. It'll start up and rev up. It won't run correctly. It'll probably go into like default settings or something, I'm not sure. But it's good enough to show. There's just literally nowhere to mount the airbox, and I don't have an airbox. Right, okay, I'll get this loaded up to YouTube and see how it goes. See you later.